And now, What's My Line? Brought to you by Stop at Spray Deodorant. Poof, there goes perspiration. Poof Deodorant Body Powder, the body powder you spray. Finesse Shampoo, the new flowing cream shampoo. All in the first truly functional cosmetic containers, far easier to use. All created by Dr. Jules Montagnier, the famous cosmetic chemist. Time now to enjoy What's My Line?
And now let's meet our What's My Line panel of well-known personalities whose lines you already know. First, the popular columnist whose voice of Broadway appears in the New York Journal-American and papers coast to coast, and who is leaving in the morning to cover the inaugural in Washington, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
And on my left, our favorite publisher, who is leaving this week for Kansas City, St. Louis, and Hollywood, Mr. Bennett, Cerf.
Thank you, Dorothy. And on my left is a lady who looks like a queen tonight, and she is. She's one of the two queens of What's My Line, Miss Arlene Francis.
Thank you, Your Highness. And on my left, an extremely witty young man who tomorrow night starts his own television show on his own network with his own sponsor, Mr. Steve Allen.
Thank you, my own Arlene Francis. And on my left, besides a few calluses, we have a man who is our very well-known moderator, very well-known newscaster, a man who is beyond any question, John Daly.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to What's My Line, presented by Stop It. This is another one of those banner nights for us. What's My Line has been awarded a gold statuette by the Chicago magazine TV Forecast. Once again, our program was voted first place in the quiz panel category by the thousands of readers of TV Forecast. It's very nice to receive the award, and thanks to TV Forecast. Also, once again tonight, we're going to have some good people come up in front of our cameras. They've brought with them some interesting occupations. We hope they'll be unexpected occupations and give the panel a pretty rough time of it so that our friends can carry off the prizes. We'll also have a famous guest challenger before the panel a bit later in the program. But now to start things rolling, it's time for the experts to meet our first challenger whose job they've got to spot. So will you sign in, please? Mary Jane Hawk. Mary Jane Hawkreg. Is that Rigg? Is that right? Would you be good enough to tell us where you're from?
Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn, New York. Nice to have you come across the river to visit us. I've got a small journey that you have to make now. Not very painful. My friends on the panel would like to know you a little bit better, too. So would you be good enough to walk down in front of the panel?
Did Miss Hawkridge?
That's right.
Now, come over here and sit down next to me, if you will, please. And on the basis of that short hike you took at this point in the program, fine point, we always give the panel one free guess as to what your line may be, and we always begin the free guesses with Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
I think she's a member of a girls' softball team.
A softball team player, Mr. Cerf.
But she's so young, I think she's a babysitter.
Miss Francis.
You think she's a baby, don't you? I think that she tests galoshes.
Mr. Allen.
I think Miss Hawkrig makes rigs for hawks.
No, nobody has it right. We'll let our viewers at home have a further look at Miss Hawkrig. At the same time, we'll tell them what her line is. But the panel has to dig. And we start back here. And Miss Hawkrig's things are very simple. Every time you give a no answer to the panel, it costs them $5. Will you come in a bit closer, please, and sit up? That's it, fine. Not closer to the microphone. Every time $5, we keep the record right here. 10 of these no's, and you have won the game. Well, we'll give them their usual last bit of help. Miss Hawkrig is salaried. With that, let's begin the general questioning with Dorothy Kilgallen.
Miss Hawkridge, do you deal in services?
Yes, I do.
Do your services apply to men and women both?
Yes.
Do they apply to anything besides men and women?
Yes.
Do they apply to objects or things that are not human?
No.
No. That's 1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Well, Miss Hawkwig, you say they apply to things other than men and women, but not to things that aren't human. Do you mean by that they apply to possibly to children?
That's right.
You have got something to do with children. Are they very little children?
What would you call very little, Mr. Cerf? 3 little tiny things. Well, thank you very much. That's 2 down and 8 to go, Miss Francis.
Well, children of the ordinary children's group that is between the ages of, let's say, 4 and 8. Children
4
like
and
that.
80, did you say?
4 and 80.
4 and 80, yes.
Do you do anything that has to, that requires a teaching capacity of any kind? No.
No. 3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Allen.
Are you licensed in any way or under the jurisdiction of any sort of organization?
Yes.
Is this an organization other than that which employs you in the narrow sense?
It's a very good question.
I didn't think so.
I think we give him a no.
No.
You see, it was a bad question.
4 down and 6 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Do you deal with children directly?
Yes.
Do you have occasion to speak to them?
Yes.
Do you, by any chance, work for a non-profit-making organization?
Yes.
Is this organization any type of government?
Yes.
Is it local rather than federal?
Yes.
Is it city government?
Yes.
Now, do you have anything to do with children in their happier moments?
Yes, I think you have something. I would say that it's perfectly possible that when Miss Hawkwig comes in contact with children, that you might find that when she comes in contact, they're in the midst of what we might call a happy experience.
Are they ever in a happy experience that they shouldn't be experiencing at that moment because they ought to be doing something else?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Does Miss Hawkwig, by any chance, have anything to do with truancy?
Yeah. You want to...
She's the prettiest truant officer they'll ever run into in Brooklyn.
You've got it answered. That's the prettiest truant officer I ever
back to
saw.
school.
I mean, I think it ought to be put down as a matter of record that I'm sure neither Bennett, Steve, nor myself ever had the services or needed the services of a truant officer. I can only say at this point that I regret it. I didn't know what truant officers were like. Well, Miss Hawkwig, you did pretty well with the prizes. More than that, we trust that you enjoyed your visit because it was very nice to have you come and visit us and watch my line. Awfully nice to see you. All right, panel, let's see what we can do with another challenger. Will you please sign in, sir? Richard? Richard Hetzko. Is that right? Would you be good enough to tell us, first of all, where you're from?
Dover, Delaware.
Dover, Delaware.
That's right.
Well, we have some folks from Delaware, so you have nothing to be nervous about. We have 4 people over here who are not from Delaware, and they would like to know you. So will you walk down in front of the panel?
May I feel your muscle? Oh, but they're not trying.
Oh, I know.
Thank you.
Those shoulders are real, too, aren't they? Wow.
Bring those real shoulders over here, Mr. Hetzko, and sit down with me, if you will. And at this point, as you probably know by now, we always let the panel have one free guess as to what your line may be. We'll begin the free guesses with Miss Kilgallen.
I think he's a Secret Service man.
Secret Service man, Mr. Cerf.
I think he's an oyster man.
Oyster man, Miss Francis.
I think he's a master of the shot put.
Mr. Allen.
I think he's a bouncer.
No, I'm afraid nobody has it. We'll let our audience at home have a further look at Mr. Hetzko, and at the same time, we'll tell them what his line is. But panel has got to dig, Mr. Hetzko. You've heard the rules explained. Every no answer, $5. We keep the record of it up here, and it's very easy for you to win the game. 10 of these no's. All right? Mr. Hetzko is salaried. With that, let's begin the general questioning with Steve Allen.
Mr. Hesco, is there a product of any kind involved in what you do?
There is.
I see. Is it something that I might ever have come into contact with?
Definitely.
By the way the people laughed, I would guess maybe that this is something that might also be used possibly by girls? Might it ever be used in the home?
Yes.
Would it also be considered normal to ever use it out in public? Would it be correct to say that a person might be more apt to use this, say, more at one time than another?
Full conference.
I don't mean like 8:45. I mean...
Yeah, we'd be willing. Mr. Hesco is willing to yield that it's possible that you might use it more at one time than another, yes.
I see. This is kind of a blind thing here. Could you possibly use this on a rainy day? Does it, therefore, give you any protection of any kind?
It affords protection.
Yeah. I see. Well, if I didn't use this thing on a rainy day, would it ruin my hat, maybe?
One down and 9 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Is this thing that's used more at one time than another also used by men?
Yes.
It
Thanks.
could be. In other words, Steve wouldn't be unduly conspicuous if he used it.
Well, I mean, specifically, if Steve were to use it, would he be conspicuous?
Unduly conspicuous.
Unduly? I would think he'd be unduly conspicuous if he were to use it. From what I know of him, that makes it 2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mr. Hetzko, is this product that you are connected with in any way apparel?
It is.
It is apparel. It is worn.
It is.
Is it, and it is worn, did we ask whether it was worn by both sexes?
It hasn't been,
Well, I'll
it
ask
has
you.
been ascertained, yes.
And it is worn by both
Both
sexes? Is it worn by children as well?
Yes.
Now I'll again ask what I got a no on last time, probably get another one. Is it worn by babies?
It is.
It is worn by
Good.
babies. And it's a protective thing?
Well,
You said...
we would only, suggest that it affords a certain amount of protection, as any covering does afford a certain amount of protection.
Well, I'm sure Steve Allen doesn't wear diapers.
Well, I don't know about that for sure, Bennett, but you go on.
I'll give you a yes on that, Bennett.
With that bit of valuable information, you should be on It's a Secret. Is this anything in the diaper line?
No, we can't give you that. That's 3 down and 7 to go, Miss Francis.
Is it worn exclusively by babies?
Not exclusively.
Well,
You mean you'd put it on animals, too, or something?
I think if Mr. Hetzko will permit that in the context of our normal line of questioning, we would give you a reasonable yes on an exclusive for babies.
May I assume that this product, whatever it is, does not show?
It does.
I mean,
Well.
if a baby were going out for the afternoon to a cocktail party or something, it would show?
Well, actually, I think we'd have to give you a no, Miss Arlene, because in my own familiar experience, there are moments when it does show. That's 4 down and 6 to go, Mr. Allen.
Is it worn from the waist up?
No.
5 down and 5 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Is it worn from the waist down?
Yes.
Why didn't I think of that?
Is it worn over the diaper if a diaper is worn?
Yes, it is, sir.
Of course, I've not been expert in this area for a long time, but I would say this, Mr. Hetzko, that I do remember, in my own experience, seeing this placed over a diaper.
Yeah, I'd say that.
Well, it's not shoes, that's for sure.
Is this by any chance some type of panty? Is it rubber or rubberized?
Rubber panty, that's right. Good boy. Got another little cleanup job to do,
Isn't
Miss
that in
Arlene.
the diaper family, rubber pants?
That's what
No,
not
actually-
I would
really.
call it a first cousin.
Different substance, different shape, different technique. Almost everything is different.
Yes.
But what does Mr. Hetzko have to do with them?
He makes them.
He makes them is right. Very good, panel. They did very well. Mr. Hetzko, you did pretty well, too. With the prizes, you also gave us a very pleasant few minutes. We hope we gave you a pleasant few minutes. Nice to have you with us, sir. Come to the special feature of our program, the appearance of our mystery celebrity. And since my friends on the panel would recognize our guest on sight, we have, as usual, provided them with blindfolds. Are they all in place, panel?
Yes, sir. Yes, they are.
Will you come out, mystery challenger, and sign in, please? All right, panel, as you know, in the case of our mystery challenger, we get right down to the general questioning, which we will begin with Miss Arlene Francis.
And as usual, are you in the entertainment business? Well, one can certainly judge from that you are not a singer.
Yes, we are not a singer.
Well, lady, I love song.
You have sung?
Yes, our guest has sung, but her basic identification, we have to admit, is not that of a singer. So you go ahead, Miss Arlene.
Would one consider you an actress?
My mother died.
Joey Brown's mother.
Yeah, it must be 110.
Maybe she is Joey Brown's mother.
Are you an actress that has performed in the New York theater? And pictures?
Yep.
Would you be considered a character actress?
No.
1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Allen.
Would you therefore be considered either always or at times a leading lady? Sounds like one of Walt Disney's leading ladies. Have we seen one of your pictures in a first-run theater in the last 2 years? Was it a Technicolor picture?
2 down and 8 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Are you rather technicolor?
I beg your pardon, Miss Kilgallen?
I didn't quite get Miss Kilgallen.
Well, I guess this is a very good question. When you appeared on the Broadway stage, were you ever in a musical?
Well, Miss Kilgallen, a while back, yeah.
Was this before 1945?
Yeah.
Did you appear in a costume related to antiquity?
Good heavenly days.
Would you break it down a little bit?
Did you appear in anything that resembled armor, especially from the waist up?
Not to my recollection, Miss Kilgallen.
6 down and 7 to go, Mrs. Cerf.
Would you do me a favor and say again, not to the, would you mind breaking that down? Would you just say that over again?
What, sir, Mr. Surfy? Would you mind breaking this down, Miss Kilgallen?
This is a voice I swear I've heard very recently. Have I heard your voice within the past months?
Yep.
Have I heard it because I met you personally? Are you a member of a family that has more than one star in the family?
You bet your booty.
Does your sister, by any chance, bring out the gypsy in herself?
fruit.
I'm sure it's Miss June Havoc.
Miss June Havoc is right. Miss June, thank you so much for coming. You see, this we'll just have to make you stay home. You keep running into Bennett and
I'll teach you not to have lunch with me.
Well, it's an insult that you should recognize me from this terrible voice.
Well, I must say that all of us tremendously enjoyed your visit, and the panel would very much like to say good night. So would you say good night to the panel?
Thank you. I had a
Awfully good to
wonderful
have you.
time.
Nice to see you.
Get in touch with Game Show Network. Log on to our website and play our games or email us your questions and comments. It's www.gameshownetwork.com. Game Show Network.
Now let's see what the panel can do with another challenger. Will you come in and sign in, please, sir? Richard McMichael. Is that right, sir? Would you be good enough to tell us where you're from?
East Orange, New Jersey.
East Orange, New Jersey. Would you now be good enough to take a walk down in front of the panel? And there isn't a member of the panel that's going to bite you, so just relax there.
Yes, I don't have to feel his muscles.
All right, Mr. McMichael, will you come over here and sit down next to us now, because time is running out. And at this point, we always give the panel, on the basis of your handwriting, where you come from, and the quick look they have at you, one free guess as to what your line may be. And we'll begin the free guesses with Miss Kilgallen.
I think he's a research chemist.
Research chemist, Mr. Cerf.
I think he raises crows for defeated candidates to eat.
Miss Francis.
I think he's a writer.
Mr. Allen.
I think he's a bouncer.
No, I'm afraid nobody has it right. We'll let our viewers at home have a further look at Mr. McMichael. At the same time, we'll tell them what his line is. But the panel has to dig. Mr. McMichael, I think you know the rules. Each time you give them a no answer, we'll flip a card and keep a record here. 10 of these no's, and you have won the game. You have 3 minutes to go, panel. Mr. McMichael is salaried, and we'll begin the general questioning with Bennett, sir.
Mr. McMichael, is there a product involved in what you do?
Yes.
Well, there can't be 3 people on the panel having baby products. Is this a product that is not used by children?
No, it is not used by children.
Yes, yes, it is not used by children, no. Thank you very much.
Is it used by adults?
Yes.
Is it used by adults of both sexes?
No.
To the degree that it is put to use, we would give you a no there. 1 down and 9 to go, Miss Francis.
Well, I look at Mr. McMichael and think he should be associated with a product that is used by women, but I'm going to ask if it's a product used by men.
Yes.
Yes, now this is a very difficult position. We're talking about the utilization of the product in the context of his services, and here men would be concerned and not women. So you go on from there, Miss Francis.
And I'd be glad to. Is it a product that one would find in the home, Mr. McMichael?
No.
No. 2 down and 8 to go.
Far, obviously.
Mr. Allen.
It's a product, then, I take it, that would be normally used outside of the home, huh?
Correct.
Good. Don't know how that came to me all of a sudden. Is it a large product if you accept as the norm something the size of a bread box, let's say?
Yes, if your bread box is your norm, it's a large product, yes.
Want to show us your bread box, Steve?
All righty. Are there any moving parts connected with it?
Yes.
Wait a minute. Conference. All right, we'll let it stay. There is a moving part. You go ahead, Mr. Allen.
But it doesn't move much, is that it? Does it have any parts that just kind of lay there?
Yeah, I guess it does. Don't you think so?
Is it in any way connected with entertainment?
No.
That'd be 3 down and 7 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Is this a utilitarian product?
Yes.
Is it stationary more often than it is mobile?
Yes.
When it's doing what it should do with this man connected with it, is he touching it?
When it's doing what it should do when this man is connected with it, is he touching it? It's a very difficult question to answer, actually. We're running out of time. I'm happy that we're running out of time because I frankly don't know how to answer that one, Miss Dorothy. We will have to give Mr. McMichael the full prize because we have run out of time, so he wins by default. He is a manhole cover salesman. And so I don't know how you'd answer that question. You get the full prize. And now, in just a moment, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to give you a preview look at one of our guests whose line our panel is going to be asked to try and identify on next week's program. Next week at the same time, our panel of experts will be asked, "What's my line?" by this man. Would you know what his occupation is? Could you spot his line? For the answers to these and a good many other interesting questions, try to be with us again next Sunday night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, when once again Stopette invites you to play What's My Line? For other localities, check your local listings for the date and the time of our weekly series. And don't forget, What's My Line on Wednesday nights on CBS Radio. Until then, this is John Daly saying good night, Dorothy.
Good night, Bennett. Hurry back.
Thanks, Dorothy. And if John hadn't told us, Arlene, I bet when I came back, we'd still been trying to guess the man who sold manhole covers.
Never mind all that talk. What were you doing having luncheon with June Havoc?
Writing a book for us.
Good night, Steve.
Good night, John.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for being with us on What's My Line?
This has been a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production in association with the CBS Television Network.